Hey everybody, welcome back to another issue of Hops Geek News where we talk comic books, we talk pop culture basically, all things nerdisms, Legos, beer. Eventually we'll get beer news put in here, but we are a podcast that can be found pretty much everywhere, YouTube, Spotify, all that good stuff. I am one of your hosts, Mash. Alongside me is the Hoppy Mommy as always. And how are you doing this fine morning?
I'm doing good. I'm drinking coffee. I drank all the beer last night. But I can still geek theme my coffee because it's Christmas coffee with pumpkin spice creamer. So it's nightmare
Ooh.
before coffee.
Oh, we had
And
the
it's in a
same
fun mug.
thought. I do not have a fun mug. I drink iced coffee only. I don't care. It's snowing currently outside. Um, when we're recording this, obviously it's not quite Veterans Day. This will be Veterans Day when it does come out, in which we're going to talk a little Captain America here in a little bit. We have some Mandalorian news, WB news, or I'm sorry, it's not the WB anymore. It's Warner Brother.
Oh,
Oh, I guess it is.
CW.
Well, Johnny
Oh,
Depp, Boba Fett. We have some WandaVision
um,
news, but yeah, I drank a lot of beers last night too. So I have the Wapow New England IPA from Ivanhoe Park Brewing, which is in Orlando, Florida. It's a pretty cool themed beer. It's a New England IPA, which everybody loves a good New England IPA. We actually got to talk with Glenn, who is the owner of Ivanhoe, a couple weeks ago on our other show, Hops News. That was a really, really great time. And it's probably the one that Hoppy hits up the most, I would feel like.
I don't know. I try to love all of my breweries equally,
I do too,
but I
but
have definitely hit them up more lately.
it's like you try to spread the wealth, but there's always that one brewery that you hit up more than the others just because it's like all reliable, or it's like, man, they just keep coming out with such good stuff. And that's kind of how I feel
Yeah.
about Western Collective here. It's like, I love all the other breweries, but now they have their new lineup coming out. And then, like, it's the most kid friendly brewery. So get the kids a slushy while the wife and I drink a beer and a wine or whatever. So, but
Yeah.
I, I'm
I mean,
drinking. Sorry, I'm drinking pumpkin spice coffee myself though, but I got a little maple syrup in this because I'm gonna have diabetes soon.
maple syrup in your pumpkin spice coffee.
If you
I
haven't
love that
tried it,
you're I have not tried it. Did you actually add maple syrup like that you would put on your pancakes
oh,
into your
it's
coffee?
pure maple syrup. Like, we don't, like, the kids get the crappy stuff because they can't recognize real syrup, but I have like the legit, maple syrup, and I put a little bit in there because it adds just a little bit of extra flavor. But yeah, I got pumpkin spice coffee, mixed with a little fresh ground maple syrup straight from the tree.
Nice.
All right,
Well,
let
it's
me.
80 degrees here and I'm drinking hot coffee.
Ugh,
And
I
it's
don't.
snowing by you and you're drinking iced coffee.
So yeah, fun fact: if you are from New England in general, you wake up and it could be -15, but you're still gonna go to Dunks. You're still gonna get your iced coffee, and I don't care the snow crunching under your feet. Although this time of year, I tend to hit up Starbucks more because they have the holiday drinks that just came out, and so I love going to Target because I'm basic. I love Christmas shopping, so I like get a nice peppermint mocha iced coffee. You got the snow crunching on your feet. You got your beanie on. You're going to Target with all the other
Beanie
stay-at-home
on.
moms, and yeah, it's a great time.
Yeah, but you can't walk and drink now. Last time I was at Target, I'm like, I'm gonna get a pumpkin spice latte. And I was like, motherfucker, I gotta wear this mask.
That's right. I've done that where I like have my mask on. I've walked out of the store and I went to take a drink and I forgot I had my mask on. And I just spill it all over the place, and I'm just like looking around. Nobody saw that, right?
Right.
So
All right. We've established what we're drinking, coffee. It's exciting.
I know.
We're not experts. I messed up last week. We were talking about J.K. Simmons. He does not do State Farm commercials. He does farmers.
Oh,
So it's
it's
we are farmers. Dun,
bum
dun,
bum
dun,
bum
dun,
bum.
dun, dun. Yeah.
And you hear that every time you hear that, you hear the jingle. But I don't must have missed. I think we were pretty lit, anyways. It was on a Thursday and we'd already been drinking.
We were, but it was one of those when I was playing it back, it was like listening to a stranger, like, that's not the one he works for. But that's about it. So what have you read or watched this week?
Oh man, so it was kind of a mostly a Batman themed week for me because I'm trying my hardest to fight off the Christmas movies early. Um, so they released a new animated Batman movie, Batman Death in the Family. It's actually only like 45 minutes at most, maybe even less than that. It's If you haven't read it, it's a 1988 story. Um, I won't spoil what happens, but we can all kind of guess there was a death in the family, obviously, and it's just Batman kind of recapping the entire story of Joker, Red Hood, and all this. I think it's leading up to something else, but I finished the Three Jokers, which I learned on Hop Heroes was actually a sequel to the Killing Joke, and the Killing Joke is a phenomenal comic book storyline. It's kind of where Barbara gets paralyzed, but the Three Jokers finale, like the artwork in this comic book in the story itself was amazing. It's kind of like a thriller. They do a lot of detective work, and I won't spoil anymore, and I definitely not going to spoil the finale, but it was really really good. I highly recommend if you can get out there and read Three Jokers. It's just three comic books. I'm going to send them your way probably with this box I got coming out to you. And other than that, I watched The Mandalorian, which we'll probably talk about here at the end of the show. 2 episodes have been released so far, and man, it is like the best Star Wars content that is being pushed out, at least from Disney's side, ever since they've taken over, in my opinion.
Right. I'm sure you've heard that joke. The first time I started to read it was like a meme or something. I was like, oh no. It's like Pedro Pascal broke his back from carrying the Star Wars
Yeah.
universe on it.
I
And
mean,
at
it's
first I was like,
true.
oh my God, he's injured. Yeah.
I do remember seeing that because that was my first thought. Is they said he broke his back, and I was like, and then I was
Yeah.
like, from carrying the Star Wars franchise, I was like, yep, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But what are you reading, watching? Anything good this besides Mandalorian, which I know we've all loved and watched?
Yeah, I didn't really read anything this week. I ordered the next volume of The Boys because my comic book shop didn't have it. But they're like, oh, we can order it. So I'm really looking forward to getting that one because I really enjoyed volume 3 of the omnibus. Yeah, I read or watched the first two Mandalorian. I watched Supernatural. There's only 2 episodes left, so they're starting to wind up their 15-year series, which is it's interesting to see what they're doing and how they're doing it. And
Right.
I mean, especially because they did a situation where they kind of saw all the possible ways that their characters ended in other universes because they have that other dimensions as well kind of thing.
Doctor Strange made an appearance.
Yeah, right. Basically, it's like, well, how many universes do we survive? And he's like, one to Dean. No, so that's fun. So there's only 2 left of that. And then I actually watched the other night. We all everybody wanted to eat in the living room, and they're like, well, what can we watch a movie as a family? And I just put on Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Ooh, that's a
So
classic.
I had yes, and my daughter watched the props show from Disney Plus. I mentioned it on the Instagram page. They have great. It's an awesome show. They did one with Jack Skellington where they find all the old props and they interview people. And there's actually one with Roger Rabbit. So my daughter had
Ooh,
seen that, and there's Roger Rabbit stuff at Hollywood Studios still. So my daughter had never seen it. My youngest had never seen it, or my middle one. So she really enjoyed it. And then I hadn't really watched the thing from start to finish as an adult.
I
I mean,
haven't
we
either
had it on,
actually.
yeah, we had it on VHS for years, but it was, I feel like it's held up. It was good. And it's honestly, it's probably the only time you're ever going to see like Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse in the same movie. It's crazy how they were able to negotiate all those.
Right back with when like people let their characters go to other movies. Now the mouse is like, not unless you pay me $90 million, and
Yeah,
then
but yeah, I mean, yeah, you have like the
I
ducks dueling on stage.
right. I honestly forget that. I remember like certain bits and pieces, I think, but that's really about it from that movie. I don't know. Is it on Disney Plus? No, it's
Yeah,
on.
it's
It
on Disney
is.
Plus. Yeah.
All right. I
Yeah,
think I
it's a
might have to
Disney
watch
movie.
that. I forgot. Like, yeah, I might have to show the kids that. They've been wanting to watch. God, they've been wanting to watch a bunch of things. I will say I forgot to mention I watched. Actually, I did watch a holiday movie. It Oh God, it was like
Is it
the
Hallmark?
worst. No, it was so Netflix likes to put out their version of Hallmark Christmas movies, right? They're not good. Like, so you have your Hallmark Christmas movies, which are shit, and then you have like your Netflix and your Amazon ones, which are below the Hallmark Christmas movies, because like you go into Hallmark knowing it's going to be cheesy and not good, but I think Netflix and Amazon try to make their movies actually good, and they just suck. So
Oh.
I watched a Holiday. It's
Oh
with
God.
Emma,
I
well, yeah, it's with Emma Roberts, Julia Roberts' niece, who I've never liked as an actress. I've always felt that she acts so bitchy in her movies, but that's just her playing herself. So something about her has always been off-putting to me. Um, but I forever alone, I guess. She meets up this Australian professional golfer, and they agree to like be each other's dates for every single holiday, and it was not
oh my
good. It
God.
was not good. But we were
Haven't
drinking.
they done that Christmas movie before? Like, please
I'm
pretend to be my
sure.
boyfriend.
Well,
Oh,
of
and now we fell
course.
in love.
That's every single like Hallmark Christmas movie, yes. But we were drinking. We sat around a fire, and then we came inside because it got really windy out, and so the fire was kind of blowing all over the place. And put on that movie, and it wasn't good. God bless, it wasn't good. But my
That's a
son,
movie you can ruin. I'm gonna
yeah.
guess they fell in
Well,
love and
they
lived
fell. Of
happily
course,
ever
they fall
after.
in love. Her mom is like really bitchy in the movie, and then like There's a her sister's Dr. Arizona from Grey's Anatomy. I recognized her, but they're just going and they have a stupid falling out, and it's like, oh, they obviously like there's so much sexual tension between them, but they refuse to like even do anything, and then they finally hook up, and she's like, "Oh, you
All
just
right,
get out
this
of my
is terrible.
house." And it was awful. I will say a fun story real quick is I was on FaceTime with my mom yesterday, and so my son's been obsessed with Rob Zombie, and he calls him his father somehow. I don't know. But then all of a sudden my son starts singing Rock the Motherfucker from the song
Oh,
Sick Bubblegum. I'm like, don't say that. And he's like, Rock the Motherfucker. And I'm like, well, dude, like, but that was, oh my God. So we got to cut back to Rob Zombie in the household. I guess. It was just like, oh my God, my 4 year old's over here. Just, it's the last thing I need at daycare is your son's out here, rocking motherfuckers. Like, but anyways, we do have some news. Always news. Maybe eventually we'll get some beer news because we are kind of a beer show as well, loosely. Um, we might get some beer news at some point. Which, if you want a little bit of beer news, Guinness has released their non-alcoholic beer, and apparently it's pretty good.
hmm.
I probably won't try it. I haven't tried any non-alcoholic beers yet, but
Never?
ever. I have not. I mean, I've
Not
had
even in
O'Doul. Okay, I've had
O'Doul's?
O'Douls because when I was deployed in Kuwait, that's all you had, and so you'd see
Mm.
people like walking with cases of O'Douls, thinking they're gonna have a great night. I'm like, you guys are fucking stupid. But I have
Like we're gonna
drank like half
pretend.
of one. But yeah, other than that, I haven't tried Athletic or any of the other ones, which I've been meaning to. I just don't see they're not here, so I haven't tried them.
Yeah, well, I actually found Athletic, and what was the other one that we actually had on Hops News?
Well
I
being.
have them in my well-being, so I found both of them at Total Wine, and
Oh,
so I
really?
grabbed them because they had been guests, and I'm curious. I just haven't gotten around to drinking them.
Yeah, I want to
But
try it, but Idaho like they don't get any outside beers really, and they're definitely not going to get the non-alcoholics in because I don't think they think there's a market for it here. So,
right, well, I mean, you can order it from the brewery if you really wanted
oh,
it
that
because
is
they can
true. That
send it
is
because it's
true.
not alcohol.
Very true.
Um, but all
But
right, well, what other breaking news do you
so
have?
we have Mandalorian, of course. Everybody, we are sitting here, we're watching it, and a lot of it is recorded on a soundstage, which is really cool. The fact that they're able to do that, so that's kind of how they've gotten around the quarantine and COVID experience. So they're gearing up to film season 3, is what they're talking about. Nothing more than that, just gearing up to film season 3, which is keep pumping it out. If all the other shows fail because we can't get them, then at least we can have this show because it's filmed pretty. They're able to do it pretty close and contained. Do you happen to know anything
Right.
about what's
Well,
happening? Oh, I'm sorry.
no, I was just gonna say with the Mandalorian, some of the scenes though that are shot outside, like they have to get the. If you watched any of the behind the scenes of the
Mm-hmm.
Mandalorian, some scenes have to actually be shot outside without a green screen because the reflection of his armor
Oh yeah.
is like off with some of the green screen stuff. So, but I mean, they look like they shoot in places that are like isolated, anyways. But
Did you
yes, that's
see
a
something I
fun
really
fact.
liked from the
But yeah,
first episode? Actually, I don't know if you noticed, but they shot like the way they shot the film was like in old school. So you know how like the old Star Wars movies at the end, you always see like the screen kind of come down a little bit. I'm not knowledgeable enough to know really what it is, but when they
it was the
was
whole episode was like a western.
well, yeah. So at the end, when he's riding on his speeder after they've defeated the kaiju there, like it was all full screen, and then
Ah, don't
yeah.
say no spoilers. It's too soon.
Okay, I'm sorry, but yeah. So anyways, something cool is the way they shot that. Anyways, do you happen to know anything about what's going on with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard at all? Like, are you following that story whatsoever?
I saw some of that. I don't really follow the Harry Potter stuff, but I saw the headlines, but I have no idea what's going on.
All right, so they were married. Amber Heard, she's kind of crazy. She's one of those crazy hot girls. Smash and go, I guess you could say. And so she alleged that Johnny Depp abused her, all this other stuff. Well, it came out that actually, I mean, they were both very toxic for each other. They're both really shitty towards each other. But there's like video recordings of her like hitting him, beating him, saying that nobody will ever believe him. She like cut his finger off at one point or some shit like that. Yeah.
Jeez.
So they're going to court basically for the whole thing between abuse. She's probably going to lose that case, but they just had a defamation case in the UK, to which the judge like dismissed that or whatever. And so Warner Brothers was originally backing Johnny Depp, who is playing Grindelwald in the Fantastic Beasts series. I love Harry Potter. I don't really like the Fantastic Beasts series personally. However, Grindelwald is like Dumbledore's lover, and he's like a bad wizard, and so he was playing him. Well, he just got released from Warner Brothers after losing this defamation case, and so he's kind of losing work now, and it's kind of shitty because they both were clearly toxic people. He's kind of a junkie now, but she clearly abused him and did all this sort of shit to him, but yet he's the one losing jobs, and she's still set to appear in like Aquaman 2. So I
Hmm.
feel as though it's just crappy all around. I don't agree with it. If you're an abuser, whether you're a man or a woman, you should be held responsible for that. You shouldn't be able to work, but that's the society I guess we kind of live in. And Johnny Depp, I've always loved him. He was at his peak in the 90s, and then the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Ever since then, he's obviously gone downhill. He's blown money. He's done drugs. Yeah. All right, cool. But so that's kind of what's going on between them. So yeah, he was fired basically from Warner Brothers. He won't be in this next Fantastic Beasts series. They were starting to film it, and now that's kind of pushed back because I guess they're gonna have to find somebody to replace him.
Mm. I have heard, I don't know if any of this is true, but I have heard that he's, as far as on at the Pirates movies, like he's hard to work with. It's like everybody has to wait for him to show up, and he just kind of is, one of those people that maybe they were looking for a way to get rid of him. I don't know.
I think they were. So, from what I'm understanding, is he just shows up to those movies drunk anymore to film.
Yeah,
So, which maybe that has to do with kind of what was going on with him and old girl there. But then again, it's also just Johnny Depp. I think that's just kind of the human being he is. So, I hope he gets the help he needs to kind of
right.
clean up himself. And he was always a great actor to me. So,
So
we'll
actually
see.
there was something else I watched that you should appreciate this and all the other dads should too. So I was watching this documentary recently that was really interesting. It was about the cost of pies in different Caribbean islands or Caribbean islands. It's called The Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, there we go. How did you end up? Did you just like
Ah.
she took an edible and all of a sudden she like sits there and is watching these random ass movies and shows.
No, it's a joke. It's a joke. It's not real.
Oh my
No,
god.
it's a really good dad joke, I think. Okay, so moving along.
Yeah, so going back to Mandalorian, there is a Boba Fett potential series in the works. They're talking about it. I'll leave that one. I never got the appeal of Boba Fett personally, but whatever. And then last bit of news, the writers of the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
Yes.
which we all grew up and loved from the 90s, they're talking about making a sequel to those movies. I am all aboard that hype train. Give me some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that aren't creepy aliens, Michael fucking Bay.
Right. Well, are they gonna ignore 2 and 3, or are they gonna go after 3?
I think they were talking about going after number two, like maybe ignoring
Okay.
three. But it's just all talks. They were like, yeah, I'd love to do this. So we'll see if anything comes from it. I would welcome it because again, I hate
Yeah,
Michael
hell
Bay.
yeah.
Did
Yeah,
you?
the first Transformers was great. That's about it. But
Yeah.
I never saw the second. I mean, we've even talked about that. I never saw the second one. Even though I had Stephen Amell, I thought I would, and I just never the first one
I
wasn't good.
yeah, I never watched any, and I watched 5 minutes maybe of the first remake that they did, and it was just like, ugh, no
Yeah,
thanks.
they're weird to watch. Okay. All right. Well, some of my news I did post in our stories. The Star Wars Lego movie trailer came out, the
Oh
Christmas special.
yes.
It looks amazing. I'm not
It
gonna lie.
does. It's so cheesy, but like
Yeah.
those Legos movies are clearly cheesy, yet they're so good. I played all the
Right.
Lego video games and they're just so stupid and cheesy.
Well, I watched it twice because I watched it by myself and I was called my daughter, and so I didn't even realize with the one guy that goes, "It's a trap" in the
Yeah.
movie. Was it the one he like opens the gift? He's like, "I
Admiral Akbar, yeah. He's like, it's
yeah."
a
He's
wrap.
like, he's like, "I hope it's a cape. It's a wrap."
Yeah.
So yeah, that, and then of course you even get a baby Yoda scene. So if you
Oh
haven't seen the
yeah.
trailer, I recommend checking it out. Just search on YouTube, and that movie should be coming out soon. I think it was November 17th, I believe,
Yeah, I think it's like next
on
week
Disney
or
Plus.
something like that. I don't know. I'm gonna watch it like 80 times. It's kind of cool because they found a way to bring in all the universe. So like they
Yeah.
go transport in time, and Emperor Palpatine's out here trying like this is how they're gonna retcon the sequel trilogies. They're gonna have
Oh,
Emperor Palpatine
Jesus.
go through time in the Lego movies just to like make it okay for him to show up in those god awful sequel movies they put out.
Yeah. Yeah, that looks great. It's my son. I mean, I'm Vader, whatever he says. Okay. So, WandaVision still doesn't have a set date, but if you look on like Wikipedia and other sources, it's trending that it will be released in December. It still says 2020 on Disney Plus, but it doesn't have an exact date. My theory is they're going to wait until like Mandalorian is over and then like release it like the last week of December or something. Because I've heard from quite a few people like, well, other than Mandalorian, what is Disney Plus offering me? So I think that
Honestly,
that's
yeah.
like if you don't have little kids or like my brother-in-law's into Star Wars, but he basically downloads everything, so his only
Right.
appeal for that, and while it is cheap, but you're not going to pay $6 a month for the whole year for one show.
Yeah.
um so that's my theory as to what they're doing, but it should be
Do
coming out in
you think
2020.
they're gonna drop it randomly? You think that we're gonna get any more trailers, any more news for it, or are they just gonna be like, boom, it's released, here it is?
I think they'll give us a heads up, but I think even with Mandalorian, I feel like we got less than a month heads up, if I remember
Yeah, I think
correctly.
the first trailer was like September, and they're like, Halloween Eve, it's coming out, and here it
Right.
comes. I would just
But I
been
mean,
what?
they released the trailer in October for
Yeah, they
WandaVision.
did release the trailer, so I kind of hope they just like drop it and they're like, boom, surprise, motherfucker, and it's just out, and nobody's like knew it was coming, and they're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Because you're right. Why else am I paying for Disney Plus if we're not getting any TV shows? Like I understand COVID, all that stuff, but they're also we have Falcon and Winter Soldier we're sitting on too. So
Yeah. But yeah, obviously WandaVision will be first. And I didn't realize when I was looking it up, I didn't realize Kat Dennings is going to be in it. And she's from Thor. She's
yeah,
Jane.
Darcy.
Yeah, she's hilarious. So I'm wondering how that will be incorporated, or if she just has a minor role in there pretending she wasn't in the universe. I don't know how they can do that because she was a big character. Anyways,
Yeah.
that's pretty much all my news. If you like Adidas sneakers and the Mandalorian, they have a Mandalorian shoe collection.
Oh
And that's
boy,
it.
Adidas. I haven't worn those I think since like middle school, back when the joke was like Adidas all day I dream about sex.
And Korn even did a song,
God, so
All
stupid.
Day I. Yeah. I'm
Ugh.
not going to keep singing that.
To be
You're
a
going to get.
kid again. But yeah, so there's not really a whole lot of news. I will say it's pretty cool. Like Robert Pattinson basically sent like a Batman themed video to a 7-year old for her birthday. They're still filming that movie, but it's not going to be out till the 2022, which sucks. Loki, I think, is still filming. We haven't had much news about that. Other than that, yeah,
Mm-mm.
slow. Spider-Man, we saw Tom Holland. He
Oh, yeah, yeah,
posted
yeah.
that picture about,
Two
they started
masks.
filming, but he was like, wear your mask. I'm wearing two. And it's him in the Spider-Man suit on set. And I'm
I don't
excited
know
for
how he's breathing in that. That's crazy.
he probably honestly just like threw it on for the picture, then took it off and was like, oh my God, I'm gonna die.
Right. Probably.
Help me. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty much all we got. It is Veterans Day. If you are like all the other degenerates I work with, because I am in the military after all, they probably have destroyed Denny's and their free pancakes they offer for military people. Like it's kind of pathetic. I'm not gonna lie. I'll get the military discount, but I'm not one of those people that like pulls up the list of who's offering free shit on Veterans Day, and I'm going to hit up Applebee's first. And first of all, nobody should ever go to Applebee's. That place is trash. But
Wait,
like,
you're going to trash or say Denny's is great and then trash
oh
Applebee's?
no, I wasn't saying Denny's was
What?
great. I was just saying Denny's offers free pancakes, so like people go there for the free pancakes all day because they give unlimited free pancakes if
Okay.
you're in the military. I don't
But
go
you said
there.
you like Waffle House,
Oh God, Waffle House, I will eat sober. Hell yeah.
but
I'm
you won't eat Applebee's.
No, Applebee's is awful. All right, let's not get it twisted. Waffle House is
Uh,
amazing, drunk or sober. Many may disagree with this.
I
Applebee's,
think most people probably haven't had it sober.
even if I'm blackout drunk and you're taking me to an Applebee's, I'm gonna no, we're not. It's not happening. That's the one way to keep me coherent again is try to take me to Applebee's while I'm wasted. It's not happening.
Wow, that's where your
But
line is. It's Applebee's.
we wanna, yeah, Applebee's, Chili's, ugh, gross. They're not good. Like, what is good about Chili's? Nothing. You get refrigerated food. Ooh,
Well, that's all the
even
chains.
even
What about
Olive
their
Garden's
baby back, baby
terrible.
back? Olive Garden is terrible.
Like you go there for your breadsticks, I guess. But like I went to Olive Garden. I think the last time I went to Olive Garden, I got like this pasta thing, and they had refrigerated meatballs they put out, and it wasn't good.
Well, all
So
that stuff's not really great for you either. So we've kind of tried to stop
no,
going to a lot of those chains.
I prefer mom and pop places for food, just
Yeah.
because I'm a hipster. So,
'Cause you're a hipster. Okay.
but
So
we
our main
are going to talk
topic.
about Captain America on this fine
Dun
Veterans Day.
dun dun dun
And
dun 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 dun.
Captain America, yes, you may know him as the first Avenger. He's not actually the first Avenger.
But he's the
However,
first.
we have a little bit of we'll drop a little knowledge on you. So Captain America, he actually, it was when he appeared in the movies, it was the fifth live action appearance of Captain America. He was in a TV movie in 1944. He was in two TV movies in 1979, and then there was a theatrical movie in 1990 to which um, that movie kind of went off the rails because he fought the Red Skull, and Red Skull is going to go to detonate a bomb. To which Cap plays a recording of the Red Skull's family being murdered, and then throws him off a cliff, throws his shield, which cuts his head off, and like he smirks at the
Damn.
he smirks at the camera and says, "Heads up." Like that is not the Captain America I know.
Wow.
So that's kind of like, yeah,
Geez, that's
his
like
movie.
Punisher stuff right there.
Yeah, like brutal, man. I get it. Jeez. But Captain America actually first appeared in 1940. He was made by Joe Simon and Jack Kirby. They a part of Timely Comics, which eventually becomes Marvel Comics 20 years later. This was before, yeah, Marvel Comics, obviously. But Cap was created because, Nazi Germany was doing their whole Blitzkrieg thing. And Jack Kirby and Joe Simon were not a fan of the fact that America was just standing by letting it happen. And so they kind of created a character that
America.
embodied what America should be and how America would have intervened despite America not intervening yet. Um, After World War II, his popularity kind of waned a bit because there was no more Nazis to fight, obviously. So during the whole Red Scare in the 50s, they brought him back as basically just to smash commies in the face. To which in the 70s, they kind of retconned a bit. So they brought this old Captain America out. So it's a professor who figured out the serum that Cap gets. And so he injects himself with the serum. He gets plastic surgery to look like Steve Rogers. And then he changes his name to be Steve Rogers. And then he finds a guy who he makes his Bucky and does the same to him. But they
So
were,
Bucky finds him.
well, yeah. And so they were exposed to Vita rays, however you pronounce it. And it turns out that they actually hallucinated beating all the communists up. So that's kind of how they retconned that whole commie smashing era of Captain America.
Well, then they ended up being bad too. I've actually read that one. And like
Yeah.
they're fighting Falcon and they're making like racial slurs towards Falcon. And
Jesus Christ.
Sharon Carter's in that one too. I'm trying to find it. I actually pulled it
I
up.
haven't
So,
read many Captain America comics, like if any at all, to be honest with you.
well, I bought this
Oh,
shortly
that's cool.
before. Actually, I think I got this for Mother's Day right before Captain America the movie came out, and it's just random. I should have reread it this week, but it's just random Cap stories throughout the years, just kind of
Ooh.
showing a little bit who he is, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's got Falcon in here as Cap and stuff. So it was like a Barnes and Noble buy.
I gotta go find
Um,
that myself because that actually be pretty interesting, especially because my son's
well, I can
big into
ship it
Captain
to you.
America. Um, but yeah, so they reintroduced Cap actually in the Avengers comic number 4, and that's kind of where the whole
And they
he
found him
was,
frozen.
yes, he was frozen in a block of ice, and that's how we all know Captain America today was, he was unfrozen. Um, so he gets with the Avengers. He kind of becomes like a leader. And then issue Captain America issues number 180 to 185, he actually just drops the entire Captain America mantle and becomes Nomad because they kind of named like a Nixon look-alike basically in the comics, reveals himself to be an agent of evil. And so Captain America kind of becomes disenfranchised with the whole like, I'm fighting for the American government type thing. So he becomes Nomad, which you kind of saw a little bit of in the movies. He gets rid of the star on his chest. He goes bearded out. It's the Captain America we see in Infinity
I
War.
like bearded Captain America.
Chris Evans is
He's
beautiful,
hot.
especially a bearded, beautiful beauty like
Yeah.
that. Male swoon.
Yeah.
Um, in Cap's 250th issue. Now, this is important because we just had a nice presidential election, and despite who you were going for, it's hard to feel like for some reason, if you watched all on Instagram, it felt like the end of Return of the Jedi. Like everybody's in the streets partying, there's fireworks going off. It like gave me a lot of Return of the Jedi vibes, despite anybody's side. We're not getting political on this show, but that's just the vibe I was getting was Return of the Jedi. Anyways, he decided he was considering to run for president. He claimed, but he doesn't. He just claimed it would detract him from fighting for the American dream. But we could have had a presidential Captain America, and that would like that's who we need right now more than ever, regardless of affiliation, to kind of bring everybody back together.
Right. But when you work in politics, it's like you have to sacrifice certain things that you believe in to get things done. And Caps, we saw that with the
Yep.
Sokovia Accords. He wasn't willing to do any of that. So
Nor
that
should
makes
he.
sense.
Um, but then, in the 90s, after like the terrible TV movie where he cuts Red Skull's head off, Captain America kind of dies a bit until the 2000s, where we have the Civil War storyline, Cap versus Iron Man, all that kind of stuff. Iron Man thinks that they should sign basically the
The
comic book version of their
Superhero
chords.
Registration Act.
Yeah. Um, and then a lot of heroes actually die in that storyline. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And then 2007, Captain America gets killed by the Red Skull. He's going to court. This is at the end of the Civil War storyline. Captain America turns himself in to kind of end it all since he sees a lot of heroes dying. And Red Skull appears, shoots him, kills him, but he doesn't because it was a magical gun that doesn't kill Captain America.
Magic bullet like JFK.
Yeah, it's magically he comes
Didn't end well
back,
for him though.
and so he kind of read Captain America comes back after like 5 years, and Bucky is Captain America at this time. So Captain America is just like, no, you remain Captain America. I don't want the mantle, but I'm not dead. Surprise! And then that kind of leads into the movies.
Right. Very nice. A bit of the origin that I'll just kind of tack onto that. So you do see the very first issue of Captain America. He's punching Hitler in the face, and you see that a bit recreated in the movie too. He's like,
Mhm.
"I've punched Hitler 100 times or something." And Bucky, when he's first introduced, he's more like a Robin. He's more like a kid. So that's always and it's so funny to see the dialogue if you read that first one. He's like, "Oh, gee, golly, Steve, you're Captain America." At least that's how I imagine his
That's
voice
how I feel. Yeah, that's how I
yeah.
picture Robin and Bucky. It's just like that little kid's voice. It's like that.
Yeah, it's funny because and they don't do that obviously now because I mean that would be putting a child in danger. You can't
Right.
do that.
So you get 90-year
Um,
old Chris O'Donnell appearing.
yeah, 90-year-old. Oh, poor Chris O'Donnell. Um, but right before they actually introduced him in Avengers, they had a Fantastic Four issue where they introduced Captain America, and then at the end of the issue or the story, you found out he was a fraud. And they did that kind of dipping their toes in the water to see if
Ooh.
people wanted Cap to come back. And they must have obviously got a positive response that they wanted him to come back because then he came back into the Avengers.
Yes,
Um,
didn't there was a comic, wasn't like there's a big thing. What was it, like 2 years ago, where Cap actually, Hail Hydra in the comic book storyline? They were
yeah, and
trying to say
people
that.
were losing their
I remember
minds.
everyone lost their shit because like Captain America shows up, he's like Hail Hydra, but then they were like, just kidding, just kidding. He was
Hmm.
not really.
Undercover, but then,
Yeah,
well, and I think
they
when
didn't plan that. They were like straight up gonna run with the fact that Captain America was gonna be an agent of Hydra, and then everybody lost their shit. So like, all right, guys, I guess we'll just take a
well,
step back.
if you read the new Falcon and Winter Soldier, though, the one person who's trying to like build Hydra back up, she's like, "I'm not going to make it like it was."
Hmm.
So I mean, they twist things around. Shield is evil now, and this and that. So I mean, they're always twisting things around. I mean, they have the same characters for what 75, 80 years. It's like they
That's
got to come
true.
up with new ways to do things.
Yeah.
But then we got that, and I think that was a nod to the comics in Endgame, the
Oh yeah,
Hail
yeah,
Hydra
yeah.
scene, and that was so perfect.
I loved that because obviously he's like Hail Hydra, and then everyone's like, "Oh my god, he said the
Right.
thing."
But I just loved it because he kind of rolled his eyes. He's like, I don't want to fight all these a-holes in the elevator again.
Yeah, that would damage
But
America's ass.
yeah, that was the best. I could do this all day. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know.
It's like he's annoyed by his own self.
He's like,
That's why I so want a Peggy Carter and Steve show where she gets to meet sassy Steve. Like just
yeah.
hearing him
Well,
say stuff.
it is amazing. I gotta say, it's like we'll get to it in a second. But as the movies kind of went on, originally, like I was just so annoyed with Captain America because he was just that goody two shoes, very vanilla. But as the movies kind of go on, he gets more and more like just worn down by everything. He's just like, yeah, whatever, man. And like,
Well, also though, like I mean, he's still in his mind, he's still like in his 20s. And so
yeah,
it's like when he went into the ice, like it was very clear who the good guy was and who the bad guy was in the country. we've been told that that generation came together. The reason comics are so collectible back then is because everybody was donating as much as they could to make materials for the war and for the
Yeah.
country. So any selfish a-hole who kept their comics ended up being able to make a lot of money off of
Yeah.
them.
Actually, yeah.
But so I mean, that's what he remembers. And to see things so gray now was, I think, a hard thing for him to grasp, because to him so many things are black and white. And but he
Not so
grew a rugged
much.
beard and developed more
Well, yeah,
character.
because he
But
came
yeah.
out. He said he even like he went to the ice. It was the good guys. He was told the good guys won, and he came out. Now he's
Hmm.
like, who the hell are the good guys? I have no
Right.
idea anymore. So it's hard to blame him. The poor dude like has been through so much. But I like sassy old Captain America.
Me too. I love him. He's awesome. And just, yeah. So I would just love to see Peggy kind of, because I feel like she would like that. Like,
Oh
okay,
yeah,
you still have everything that makes you good. Obviously, you wouldn't be able to pick up the Mjolnir, but
right.
you now have a little bit of edge to you. So because obviously she has edge to her.
Yeah.
But Steve Rogers is not the only Captain America. So they have had other people make cameos. I'm not going to go through all of them. Obviously, Bucky and Falcon are the most well known that
Yep.
have lifted the shield, and obviously he was in favor of those. But there were people he was not in favor of as well, like the one you just mentioned, the professor and everything. Obviously, especially when he kidnapped him. There's also William Burnside. He got a bootleg serum and he went insane. Actually, that might have been the professor. But then there was another one that was really sad, Isaiah Bradley. So they had an issue where they like mimicked the syphilis studies that they did on
Oh,
African Americans, and they did it with the superhero soldier serum, and only a handful of people survived out of like a few hundred. And this guy was the only one that actually like came out with legit superhero powers and defeated some Nazis that were trying to get the serum. Unfortunately, I guess he didn't have the permission of the government to do it. He got court-martialed and ended up in jail, and then Eisenhower freed him. So that's a fun little random storyline. There's another one, William Naslin. He thought Cap was dead. The government wanted a patriotic hero. So they were like, okay, you're going to be basically our new Captain America. And then he died protecting JFK. Dave Rickford took over when Steve was head of S.H.I.E.L.D. Danielle Cage has even taken up the shield at one point. That's the daughter of Luke Cage.
yep.
And in Old Man Logan, I remember reading the scene and being like, geez, this is dark. So in Old Man Logan, it's like a potential future where the villains decided to team up, because I feel like that's what the heroes usually have, is the heroes can team up and fight the bad guy. But when the villains actually teamed up, they were able to defeat the good guy. And
Right.
Red Skull is actually wearing Captain America's outfit after he killed him. So when
Ooh,
Logan goes and sees Red Skull, he's wearing, oh, he's got like trophies of all the like Avengers that he killed and stuff. Is crazy.
that's savage. I
Um
kind of like that. Damn.
it is sad. They even call it like Savage Land.
Jeez.
But it is savage. Okay. And in the comics, at one point, like when Steve is like a 90-year-old man, he actually hands the shield over to Sam Wilson, which is Falcon. So
Which
that
we
did come out of
saw
the
in
comics.
Endgame.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say, going back to Old Man Logan, Wolverine and Magneto were supposed to be in the first Avenger movie because they were alive during World War II. However,
And part of
Fox,
it.
Disney rights, all that stuff, blah blah blah. So we didn't get that, but that was actually an original storyline. Is you're supposed to see those two appear, which the internet would have blown up, the world would have blown up. We could have prevented
Right.
8 years of sadness through this world. The world would have been united from 2012 on, or 2011. Is that when that movie
Would it
came out?
have been Hugh Jackman, though? Obviously, it wouldn't have been
Yeah, it would have been Hugh
Ian
Jackman.
McKellen because he was a child in World War II.
Yeah,
But
it would have been Hugh Jackman because he's if you go into the first Wolverine movie, he's an
oh,
adult.
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, it would have been Hugh Jackman, and then we would have seen Magneto, but that got
Right.
scrapped.
Well, in the beginning of the Wolverine is when one of the bombs is dropped
Yeah.
and he protects the one dude. Um, so we should be seeing Peggy as Captain America in the What If show,
Ooh.
and
That's animated too, isn't it? I believe that,
yeah, I think it is going to
which
be animated.
I can't wait for that because there's a lot that's probably the one thing I'm most excited for is the What If show.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I don't love the animation though, but of course I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's lots more little short-lived Captain Americas, but they're not all worth mentioning.
No.
It would probably be just as bad as listening to you go on about that holiday movie.
Oh god. Listen, that movie, these movies are treasures. That one, I told you, don't watch Netflix Christmas movies expecting quality. You got to watch the Hallmark to get the full experience. You got to watch it on Hallmark Channel for the full experience. Netflix
I
just
think
makes
I'll just stick to
trash.
Die Hard and The Ref and The Night Before and actual good holiday movies.
Excuse
But
you, first of all. How dare you? These movies are
I,
quality.
I will say the one I think holiday chick flick movie I really like is Family Stone. But we'll save that for our holiday. We're gonna do a
Yeah, we have
holiday
a
movie
holiday.
episode.
So the obviously
Fun
the one,
facts.
Captain America: First Avenger. That is, Steve Rogers. That's the first time we really see Captain America in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Came out in 2011, I do believe. And Chris
Yes.
Evans had turned down the role many, many, many times. He didn't. I think his big thing was he didn't want to get stuck into long-term movies playing one character, which he probably also had PTSD from playing in those
Torch.
god awful Fantastic Four
He said
movies.
he saw like the fame that like Chris Hemsworth and everybody else that was in the MCU got, and he didn't want it to completely take over his life.
Yeah,
But
it's hard to blame because he's such a great actor outside. Because you always forget the movies that he's in. Like my favorite movie that he's in is Scott Pilgrim because that's one of my
mm,
top 5 favorite movies of all time. Scott Pilgrim. Um, but yeah, he's playing in Knives Out. Obviously, that came out later. He
I
played in
mean,
some
it's not
crappy
another
movie.
teen movie. Is
Yeah,
not your
not another
favorite?
teen movie. Cellular was like this crappy movie, but he's played in a lot, and yeah, he wanted to turn it down, and finally he took on the role.
RDJ came to the
Yeah,
rescue and convinced him. He saved the day once again. Thank you, Iron
Robert
Man.
Downey Jr. Man, he put the entire MCU on his back, and which
And
is
hand
great for
delivered
him.
it. Yeah,
Yeah, without him and John Favreau, we would not have the success we have today. Of course, Kevin Feige, yeah, he's the goat for doing it, but without those two to get it started and then
right.
like push people into it, man, we wouldn't
Well,
have the
it
Marvel.
was like a huge independent film. Yeah, they had to take
Yeah,
a lot of risks, and we got to thank John Favreau for the Mandalorian too. I
yeah,
mean, that
John
guy's
Favreau, give
just.
that guy everything,
I mean,
everything.
he's so money he doesn't even know he's money.
Exactly, like give that. He's even great in that movie, The Chef, that he's in. First of all, like that's a great
I have
movie
not
too.
seen that one.
But anything John Favreau's in, like he was an elf. We'll talk about that. But his cameo, he was actually an elf. He
Well,
was the
he was.
doctor.
Didn't he write it?
I think he did. Yeah,
He did some behind the scenes stuff too. Well,
yeah.
Swingers is. Have you seen Swingers?
I don't think. Maybe.
Okay,
Maybe.
that's why I said the money line. That's from that movie. Vince Vaughn says to John Favreau, "You're so money you don't even know your money, baby."
I think I might have. I don't remember. But
If
yeah.
not, you need to see Swingers. It's a good movie.
I
Come on,
got a
Vince Vaughn and John
list.
Favreau. You can't go wrong.
True. I do love old school Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, this was the '90s.
Yeah. But yeah,
John Favreau's skinny.
oh God.
Okay.
to
So speaking of skinny, to make Chris Evans look short and skinny in Captain America, because obviously you can't be 100 pounds and 5 feet, and then all of a sudden you're 6 feet and I don't know what he is,
tell that to
230.
Christian Bale, okay?
Oh my God, Christian Bale's gonna kill himself, man. So to make him look short and skinny, they had to shoot scenes multiple times with like him and a body double. And if
Hmm.
he was interacting with another person, they had to lower him. And it's really funny. You can actually Google it, like the scene where they're in the line at like a boot camp.
Yeah.
He's kneeling on a box so that he can be shorter. And they put him in really big baggy shirts to make him look
Right.
tinier. But it's so funny because he's still this huge dude in
Well,
these
it's funny
pictures.
because I guess whenever he comes out from getting the transformation, the actress who plays Peggy Carter, she like her reaction's genuine because she
Yeah,
touched his
she
chest and
touched
she
him.
was like, "Oh my," which that's a normal reaction from anybody.
Right.
I'd even be like, "Oh my God, this chiseled God."
I love that. She's like, yeah, I just wasn't expecting him to be that, whatever.
This
But
dude
yeah.
is jacked.
Yep.
Um,
Um, okay, so yeah, that was actually my next fun fact that was not, and she said she almost broke character because he was so hot. So I changed her exact words a little bit, but that's basically what she said.
listen, he's a babe.
So, the shield in the comics is actually made of vibranium and adamantium.
Hmm.
Vibranium absorbs the shock, and then the adamantium is what makes it invincible. But of course, Fox owns adamantium. But I'm
Yeah,
wondering if they're going to be able
not
to say it now,
anymore.
right? So, are they going to say, "Oh, well, this shield, shield is not just vibranium"? I don't know, but they've created this whole
Or
world with Black
maybe
Panther of vibranium.
they recreate Cap Shield for Sam, and they make it out of, they're like, hey, we found this new element, adamantium, and they combine it together, and that's kind of also how we
Right.
loosely tie to Wolverine. I don't know. That could be a good
Well,
idea.
maybe the shield wouldn't have gotten destroyed by Thanos if it had had adamantium in
Yeah,
it too.
see that they can play with it. They got options. Just saying, Marvel, if you're
Right.
listening to me, you have way better ideas, but you can always
Helping
say
you
that we
out. Throwing
found a
you a
new
bone.
element.
Ah, was that a pun? A new element? Okay.
Yes.
So they used many different shields in the movie. So they had like a rubber one for when they were like throwing it at people.
Hmm.
And the one that goes on his back is actually like magnetic. So that's when he clinks it in.
Yeah,
And then some of them, of course, are just CGI, which I'd like to see that scene of Chris Evans just like chew or whatever and like not actually throwing anything.
yeah.
Um,
It's always got to be so weird to like make these movies because you have these props like the Thor hammer is just like the styrofoam or whatever they use, and it's really light, and he just like accidentally throws it and stuff. Or the shields when he's like not actually throwing anything. I always
yeah.
find making these movies fascinating because a lot of it's CGI. So you see
Hmm.
like Mark Ruffalo's walking around with like this
With
Hulk head
dots.
built on him.
Yeah.
He's got dots everywhere. Or you see what's his name? Sean Gunn running around playing Rocket Raccoon, but he's like in this CGI suit and you're pretending to interact with like a raccoon.
Mm.
So those always fascinate me because it's how do you not break character? Like,
Yeah. Well,
although you're paying me millions of dollars, I could do whatever you want.
right. They're experts at playing make believe.
Yeah, right.
But Elizabeth Olsen has made a comment that, they're all doing these fighting scenes and moving around, and she's just sitting there going,
Yeah,
she's like, I feel
hers is the
ridiculous.
strangest because she's doing
Yeah.
like these hand motions, but
Yeah.
obviously you don't see anything happening because you're filming. So
Right.
I don't blame her for feeling you just like I feel stupid, but then you see your bank account and you're like I'm gonna feel stupid for however long you
Ever. Yeah.
need.
But I guess the scene where Thor, in Dark World at the end where he hangs the Mjolnir on the coat rack, I guess that was not scripted. They just walked in and he was just like, boop, which I thought was extra clever because it's an umbrella in the comics, which they did
Yeah,
in Ragnarok. So I mean, that's where you would hang your umbrella.
yeah, that's true.
But oh, my last fun fact for the movies is the shawarma scene. This isn't First Avenger, obviously. This is Avengers. But the shawarma scene, if you notice, you see Steve like this with his hand on his face, and he's not actually eating. It's because they shot this after I guess they had wrapped, and he was
Oh
filming that
yeah,
god
that's
awful movie Snowpiercer, and he had a beard,
I
so
never actually saw that movie, so I
he's covering his beard. I hated that movie. So what it was like so somebody was trying to fix global warming and they did something and it made the whole world go into like a severe ice age where like
what the
you die
hell?
almost immediately going outside, but they're in this like bullet train that literally goes around the entire world and it's going so fast it can pierce the snow. But
What?
even though it's like yeah, this I'm not exaggerating, but this train is like made so you can live on it. So there's facilities and everything, but it's almost like you still have like almost like a caste system type thing where like the rich people are up at the front and then all these poor people are like packed in the back. It's almost like 2012, I think, where like the rich people already had their money and they paid for this. And there's a salon cart at the front, and there's a school at the front for the rich kids, and then in the back, it's literally people crammed together in a cart, and they're like feeding them bugs to eat, and then they start killing each other to eat each other. It's terrible. It's
Chris Evans,
terrible.
baby, what are you doing?
So I won't say how it ends if anybody wants to see it. I came
No.
highly
Oh.
recommended by my one of my brother-in-laws.
Oh God. See, I love cheesy movies like that, but that
It
doesn't sound
wasn't
like
it wasn't cheesy though. I think they were really trying to be like a dark apocalyptic kind of movie.
no, I'm out.
Um,
For that reason, I'm out. Oh wait, isn't there? They made a TV show about this now. It's like on TNT or some shit.
did
Snowpiercer.
they?
They did. I recognize the. I recognize now the TV show that there's a TV show out called Snowpiercer. It looks
Huh.
bad. I'm not gonna watch it, but
Yeah, I was upset that it was Chris Evans. I'm like,
yeah.
Captain America, really?
Well, he
What are
made
you doing?
Cellular, which was also shitty, but
Cellular. I never saw
yeah,
that.
something
Wasn't
about
that
a
the
cell
movie with
phone.
Katie Holmes?
Maybe
Or was that another one? Maybe it was
I
Phone
have no
Booth.
idea, but the best
Some
thing he's
movie with
done,
her and Colin
obviously,
Farrell.
is Scott Pilgrim and then these Avengers and Captain America movies. I don't
He
have
was good
anything
in Knives Out.
else.
You said that one.
Oh,
That one's
Knives
good.
Out. He plays excellent, excellent character. I'm not going to spoil Knives Out, but his character in Knives Out's really good.
Hmm.
Other than that, yeah, that's all I got for Captain America. He is your embodiment of the American spirit, whatever that means these days. But however, we are going to move into. Should we spoil Mandalorian? Talk a little Mandalorian first two episodes, or
I mean, we can just go over it slightly. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, I
if you
would
haven't
leave
seen
now.
Mandalorian, goodbye. Get out of here. Come back.
Bye bye.
So I love this season. I mean, it's kind of we're going to build up to an ultimate storyline. We're still waiting to see like Ahsoka and all them. But this most recent episode, I loved that it turned into like a sci-fi horror thriller out of nowhere because Baby Yoda just can't stop eating eggs. And then he's just
Oh
like,
my god, that
oh
was
shit,
terrible.
and like all those damn spiders come out of nowhere. It was crazy. I don't know if you know
I
this,
knew
but
that was going to happen with the eggs.
yeah, one of the X-wing pilots, which it was really cool, like seeing the X-wings and like watching them go into attack mode. One of the pilots is actually Dave Filoni, who is the creator of the cartoon Star Wars Clone Wars series, and he's done like I'm like, well, he does Star Wars Rebels, the Clone Wars, all those, and he's fantastic. So yeah, he's one of the X-wing pilots in Episode 2 here, or I guess it's
Hmm.
Chapter 10. They say.
Yeah. Well, it was funny, like the first one, as soon as it started, and my daughter's like, this is like a Western. And then she's like, oh, they're fighting with the natives. And so, yeah, that when
Yeah.
you said the scene closing, I felt like they really were
Well,
intentionally doing that. I'm like, because I even said I could watch, he's gonna walk into a saloon now. And then he walked into a saloon.
yep. It's cool seeing the contrast. So like in the first episode of the newest season, yeah, it's a western, but when all the old westerns, they always like brought that they I don't even know what it's called. I got to figure out what
Hmm.
it's called. But where the screen shortens and they're riding off into the sunset kind of deal. Well, that's what they did in that episode. And it was fantastic. And
Yeah.
Timothy Oliphant there, he is amazing in everything that guy's in. He's in Santa Clarita Diet. He was in that one
Wait,
show.
I always forget which is which because there's two of them that look so
No,
familiar.
you're thinking Josh Duhamel, who's in all the
He's
Transformers
in Gone in
movies.
60 Seconds.
Yeah, no, this is Timothy Oliphant. He's in The Crazies. He's in Santa Clarita Diet. He was in damn, there
Which
was
I'm
a
still mad about them ending that because the
I am
last episode was
super
really
mad
good.
because I was really into that show. But no, he is amazing in literally everything that he's in. He played in Scream, the first Scream he's in, and so he kind of
Is it the first
find.
one or the second one?
No, you're right. I'm sorry. He's in the second one. You're
When
right.
he's
He is in this.
dating her.
Yeah, he's in the second one.
Oh, and he's the bad guy in Live Free or Die Hard. That's
Yeah,
right.
so he's great in everything. He what finds Boba Fett's armor. He basically was like, "Yeah, I found it because we're on Tatooine," and so he doesn't fit him really. And I thought it was kind of cool seeing
Yeah.
all the different like tubings and things that go onto the armor, and then they go and kill this kaiju type thing and blow it up, all that. And then the second episode is turns in from a western to like a
A
horror
horror.
movie, and that was actually John Favreau. He directed, I believe, this episode. He created the whole entire series, but he finally decided to direct an episode, which was this one, and it was amazing.
I wonder if they'll do what they did with the last season where they had a behind the scenes special for every single episode because every single episode's like directed by a different person. So
Yeah, I'm
that's
sure
why
they will.
each one is so different.
I'm pretty sure they will, just because keep that going, and it's really cool to see the way they film these shows.
When they sit down in a circle too before and they discuss the show and what where their head was at and some behind it. Have you watched it at all?
I haven't yet, but I love watching behind the scenes stuff like that because I just love understanding how things work and everything like
Right.
that. So I need to carve out time to where I just sit down and watch that for like The Boys and Mandalorian and stuff like that because I it's really fascinating to see what goes through their minds when they're doing this stuff.
Right. Well, it's also, they all have a history too because all these directors grew up with Star Wars. So, a lot of the people working on them now, it's like a dream come true. But then
Yeah.
what is it? Is it Ron Howard's daughter from Jurassic Park?
Yo, yeah.
She directed an episode, and it was interesting hearing her when they're sitting down at the round table discussing her episode because she like was at a meeting with like Steven Spielberg as like a kid and like falls asleep at the table, and she so she like had this like interesting story of her being like little and they were talking about Star Wars or something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was very interesting to see each of their perspectives. And then the one guy, when he got offered the job, he thought it was somebody was pulling a prank on him. He's like, I didn't believe it. He's like,
Well,
for
yeah,
me
you
to get
get
to work
tapped
for
to
Star Wars.
yeah.
Yeah.
Unless just keep Ryan Johnson far away from it, please, and J.J. Abrams. But give these awesome directors who are getting a chance to like direct an episode of their dreams. Like, of course, there's an overarching story behind each season, but they as long as they kind of work towards that, but
Hmm.
at the same time they get to kind of do what they want. It's just like your episodes of The Flash and things like
Right.
that. So they get to do what they want within reason, and seeing everyone's different styles. I love seeing because everyone brings different elements to these shows.
Right. Well, and the fact that they're in different locations every episode too helps because you can, and you're around different people and different actors. So it makes it, I guess, easier to have different
Yeah,
directors and still follow a continuity.
true. But
But I enjoyed it, but it's not really like moving along. He just keeps getting sidetracked.
Yeah, he keeps trying to
So
like,
that's
he's trying to find the child's family. Now he has a side mission from that crazy. I love the crazy old lady that has now as like his dealer on Tatooine. She's like giving him jobs and
yeah.
stuff like that. I like her character. She's kind of goofy and funny. But yeah, he keeps like the poor guy is just trying to like return this child and keeps getting sidetracked. Now he has to take a frog to her family, and it was great. And I can't wait to see how they
Yeah, but the
bring.
child's never gonna leave him.
No, oh, of course not. And then of course we're waiting to get Ahsoka and all them. So I'm excited to see where the season goes. I
Yeah.
hate that it's going to be over before we know it, and it's each week, but it builds that anticipation, gives you something to look forward to.
Right. Well, somebody made a good point. I read it somewhere with so the child has the force, but he needs to be obviously trained for good. And somebody's like, I don't know if Baby Yoda seeing the Mandalorian kill all these people is necessarily good for
Yeah,
him because he's not going to have a clear understanding as to what is good and what is bad.
right.
But because like he almost like the way he reacted when he shot the guy that was trying to steal his equipment like into the air and
Yeah,
then came down to his death.
he looked at him like, "What?"
Yeah, but so that's interesting because you don't really think of that because a Jedi that strong, obviously needs to be trained to be on the light
Right.
side.
But at the same time, I mean, you're kind the old school Jedi. That's what kind of killed, like, got them destroyed in the first place. Is they were like too good to a fault and didn't let any of their. Whereas you had Qui-Gon, who was like your gray Jedi. They said I can go on for days about this whole thing. Qui-Gon was like in the middle, so maybe that's kind of how he'll be, is not bad, but willing to do what it takes to protect those he loves or something. I don't know.
Right, but to what extreme? Because that's what
Yeah.
Vader was doing. He thought was protecting uh,
Yeah.
the people he
That's
loved and
true.
nobody else. So he had to go kill a bunch of younglings to do that. So,
Listen, sometimes you got to kill some
oh,
kids.
we'll
I don't
see.
know. Fuck them kids.
Oof. Fuck.
So that's the Mandalorian. Probably after season 2 wraps, we'll probably go into a deep dive discussion about it. And other than that, I think that's about it. I got nothing else.
Yep.
Well,
Nope. I don't even know what we're discussing next week. So stay tuned.
next week, we don't know yet, but we'll figure it out as Christmas approaches. We're gonna have some Christmas episodes coming up here soon. And so, if you have anything you want to hear us talk about or have a discussion, debate, questions, find us on Instagram, Hops Geek News, and then if you search Hops News on YouTube and Hops News on any podcast streaming platform, that's how you're able to find our episodes. Wednesday nights is when we put our episode up on YouTube, and then Thursdays is when our audio version's available on all the streaming platforms. Other than that, cheers. Have a great, fantastic week. Happy Veterans Day. Slam some pancakes for all you out there who are able to get those discounts. And we will see you next time.
And if you're in Orlando and you're a vet, you get your first beer for free at Tactical Brewing.
Oh God,
And
we need to get them
cheers.
on. I can't wait. Oh, I know. Sorry, real quick. Our next episode, we are going to be interviewing Woodland Empire Brewing out of Boise.
Oh
They are a really,
yeah.
really good brewery. So we actually will have them on next week. So if you're in the Boise area or you just like breweries, give that's who we got next week. So for realsies this time, cheers.
Cheers.
This has been a Hops News production. You can find Hops News on all your favorite podcasts and social media platforms at Hops News. Cheers.